What is going on, guys? It is the MMA Monster here, and I am here to give you my predictions on the upcoming Gustafsson versus Johnson fight card. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tell you all my predictions for the main card and how I think they're going to end, why I think it's going to be like that, and just how it's going to end, all that stuff. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you some pretty descriptive detail, which is why I'm fighting the computer, and my objective is not to destroy this guy right away, the computer. I'm just trying to make it a longer fight so you guys can be entertained by the video game, and then also by my fantasy picks here on UFC Fantasy. But, so first off, starting off whoa, I don't want to knock him out. But the first fight on the main card is Corassani versus Cecilia in a featherweight fight. And I just think that Cecilia's too big, Corassani's too little. Like, obviously people say, like, size doesn't matter. It does, though. Like, if you're fighting, like, weight class fights, yes, it actually does matter. If you guys are weighing around the same weight, it does matter. Size does matter. It plays a big factor. Because back in the day, people used to be all like, oh, Royce Gracie submitted all these guys. Yeah, okay, whatever. But that's because, I'm not hating on Royce Gracie at all. He's one of the best to have ever lived. But back then, people had no idea jiu-jitsu could be used in mixed martial arts, really. Like, people got to understand that nowadays people know how to defend all this stuff and do all that. But anyway, I think Cecilia's gonna kind of work the first round. Corassani might be doing all right, but then late in the first round, I'm thinking Cecilia's just gonna go ahead and land a big right hand, and it's gonna be over for Corassani. Just in the first round, I think he's gonna get knocked out. My pick for that fight is Cecilia knockout in the first round, knockout or technical knockout, whatever. And then the next fight is someone I hate, Phil Davis, fighting someone I used to hate, but now is someone I've actually come to respect in the game, Ryan Bader. Ryan Bader is a wrestler with knockout power, of course, like Dan Henderson, except maybe his right hand's not as powerful, or whatever. But there are different types of wrestlers between Henderson and Bader. But the thing is, why I don't like Henderson as much anymore and why I like Bader more now is because Bader uses his wrestling in his fights now. As you've seen it against St. Preux, Paroche. Unlike you saw against Glover Teixeira, he's trying to win fights. He's not trying to, go ahead and go for the knockout. He's doing whatever he can to win the fight, which is what I respect. I mean, yeah, maybe he's not the most exciting fighter anymore. Like, he used to be pretty exciting when he was going for knockouts and stuff, win or lose. But, I mean, Bader's just fought a lot smarter recently. Phil Davis has always fought smart. I respect Phil Davis as a fighter. I just hate the dude in general. But, anyway, this isn't... when I pick for people to win fights, I never put my personal feelings about the fighters affect it. I'll say, like, oh, I want him to lose, but I don't think he will, Stuff like that. That's a lot of my things. Like, a lot of the guys I hate happen to be, guys that are actually pretty decent in this sport. But I think Ryan Bader and Phil Davis are going to have a very, very close and even fight because they're both amazing wrestlers. I think on the feet, Bader would have the advantage because Davis would be too scared to even strike with them, I think. And then Davis will maybe, have the advantage in submissions, but I don't think either guy will get submitted in this fight. I honestly see the only way this can go is if someone gets knocked out or if it goes to decision, because I seriously don't think... I think they're both very good with submission defense nowadays. Like, Bader, he's gotten choked out by Tito Ortiz, but I mean, that's back in the day. I don't think Bader will ever get submitted again, no matter who he faces. I think he's tightened up on his submission defense, but I'm actually taking Ryan Bader in this fight. A lot of people are taking Phil Davis just because he's, he just destroyed freaking Glover Teixeira, because Teixeira was, Teixeira just looked like shit that fight. He didn't do anything. Starting at the end of the first half of the round. but I'm going to have to say Ryan Bader is going to knock him out or TKO him in the 3rd round. If this goes to decision, I'm going to take Phil Davis. If it goes to decision, I'd have to go with Phil Davis, to be honest with you. I think Phil Davis would pace himself a tad better. He'd do a little bit better with controlling the ground game. But I think Bader overall is the better fighter. It just also depends on where the fight goes. If one guy fights dumb, one guy fights smart. And that's I don't know what else to say really about that one. It's just I think Bader's going to knock out Davis towards the end of the fight there in the 3rd round. So then my next prediction, Dan Henderson versus Gegard Mousasi in the co-main event. A lot of people are saying, like, oh, Mousasi doesn't look like he cares anymore. Like, look who he's been fighting, though. Like, he beat that one nobody Latifi by decision. That Latifi dude's a pretty tough dude, by the way. And then he beat, he lost to Machida. Well, obviously, like, Machida is one of the best middleweights in the world. So, yeah, it's not like he's just going to go ahead and win every fight against the top guys, you know? But then he choked out Munoz pretty quick, which isn't an easy task to do to Munoz. And then he lost to Jacare, which I just didn't see how he was possibly going to beat Jacare now. I just think Jacare fought the smart fight. I was kind of disappointed in Mousasi getting submitted, because I honestly had no idea he was going to get submitted. I was actually predicting Jacare was going to knock him out in that fight. Because Mousasi's submissions are so good and underrated. And I'm thinking Hendo, though, in this fight is just going to be headhunting, going for that right hand as he has been in the last couple fights there, which is why he almost got knocked out by Shogun, and he got lucky with the right hand eventually in the 3rd round. Then, you know, he got his ass beat by Cormier. You saw he was trying to get the right hand in on... What am I trying to think of? Damn it. It might come to me later, but I know he tries to go for the right hand in like every fight now. He doesn't use his wrestling very often. But if he uses his wrestling in this fight, I don't see how Henderson can lose. If he just keeps going for that right hand like I think he's going to do, I'm going to have to say Mousasi by decision. That's my pick for this fight, is Gegard Mousasi's going to get a good, honestly, I think 30-27 decision on Hendo. The main event, Alexander Gustafsson versus Anthony Johnson. I honestly do not think this fight is going to be, honestly, as great as everybody thinks it is, just because they're both 2 knockout artists. You've seen, like, Matt Brown and Robbie Lawler, and then Johnny Hendricks and Robbie Lawler were supposed to be a lot more fun than they were. But, like, they were, like, just bangers. Those are guys that will just knock everybody out, but when they fought each other, they respected each other too much. That's what you got to understand, is if you put 2 big knockout fighters with each other, it doesn't mean that we're not going to have like a good knockout war, or, you know, people trying to fucking throw hooks nonstop and beat the hell out of each other like Sanchez and Guida. And like I said, we've seen that in the case of Robbie Lawler, Johnny Hendricks, Robbie Lawler, and Matt Brown. Those are my 2 best examples I can give you. And I think Gustafsson's going to be too smart for Johnson. Johnson's going to go in for that knockout pretty quick. He's going to start gassing after the 2nd round. So like going into the 3rd round, I think Johnson's not going to be completely gassed, but he's going to start showing like he's going to slow down pretty much. And then Gustafsson, I think, is going to take his time still. He's going to be like, all I got to do is make sure I don't get knocked out, because there's no way in hell is Johnson going to submit Gustafsson. There's just no chance of that happening. And then we got the 4th round, I think, is where Gustafsson's actually going to get a KO or a TKO on Johnson in the 4th round. Like I said, Johnson, I think, is just going to be too tired by that time, and then Gustafsson's probably going to just start getting tired, really, in the 4th round. He's got amazing movement, going to be able to stay away from that right hand of Johnson's. And then he's going to end up just landing a good head kick or some kind of long punch. is just going to end the fight, I think. A lot of people think Johnson's going to win, and it could go either way. Like, it's a great matchup, I think. It's just, I think, in the favor of Gustafsson. I really don't see it going any other way, but that's basically it. And my choices for submission of the night, fight of the night, knockout of the night, I think, honestly, the submission of the night is going to go to Nikita Krylov in the prelims when he fights his Nedkov. I think I don't know, I don't really have a reason for it. I just think he's going to pull off a pretty cool submission for some reason. And then knockout of the night, I think, is going to be Alexander Gustafsson. He's just going to have a pretty cool knockout with, like I said, like a long punch or a head kick, something like that. It's going to lead to knockout of the night. And then fight of the night, I honestly think it's going to be another prelim fight, which is the very first one, which is, I believe the guy's first name is Josh, but I know his last name's Siri here. Siri versus Chris Beal. I honestly think that fight's going to be pretty crazy. A lot of people don't know those two fighters. I don't know much about Siri, but I know Chris Beal very well. I've seen his entire career starting at the Ultimate Fighter. I think I've actually seen a fight or two of his before he joined the Ultimate Fighter. And the kid's impressive. I think he's going to try to get the knockout. I think the other guy's going to try to finish him too. I honestly think that's going to be fight of the night. Too bad I won't be able to see it because it's going to be a Fight Pass prelim fight. But anyway, those are my prediction, guys. I'm going to go ahead and knock out Ben Henderson now. If I can. Well, no, I definitely can. What? Before I go, also, since, I haven't knocked him out yet, I wanted to talk about Conor McGregor. I know a lot of people have been talking to me saying, like, oh, I told you McGregor was going to win. I'm just like, yeah, I told you McGregor was going to win, too. It's just the fact that I don't think he'll ever become champion. I was impressed with Seaver. I was impressed with his fight with Seaver. Not with Seaver. Seaver looked like shit, but I was impressed with McGregor. If he fights like that against Aldo, he has a chance. Hey, Fumbles. Go to sleep. But, thank you guys so much for watching. Please hit that follow button on my Twitch channel. I will post a link in the description. Please like, comment, and subscribe for this video. Lots and lots more videos to come. Probably the next video I post will be for the Royal Rumble predictions, but I might wait a couple days on that. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time.